Hi, my name is Cameron Harity,
And I'm Carmela Hatch.
and we work at the Duluth Public Library. We are early literacy librarians, and we also work for Every Child Ready Duluth, which is the library's focus on improving school readiness in Duluth. We work with community partners to support our families, children, and educators. We also take from the Every Child Ready to Read practice, um, and they are a parent ed initiative surrounding early literacy. One of our strongest partnerships is with the Northland Foundation, as they are a strong supporter of our initiative. As part of our work with them, we have made these videos. There are 6 altogether, and we hope you'll watch each of them. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to share our screen here and pull up our slides that go with today's video. Get that presenting slide. There we go.
Before we get started, we wanted each of you to take a moment and think of a special time from when you were younger, about if you read a book with an adult, like a favorite time that you had with them and what that is. Do you want to share?
Yeah, feel free if you want to pause and think of your idea. This example I generally share, I think I shared in the first video also, but I remember being read to by my grandparents a lot when I was a kid, and they had lots of old books. And I remember my grandpa one time reading me a story from a book of old stories about animals. It was about a frog, which were my favorite thing. So I remember just being curled up with him at night. And he made the best frog impression. I just remember looking up at him. He had these big glasses, like big frog eyes. And I just thought, oh my gosh, Grandpa is the coolest. And he just kind of cast a spell with his reading of that book.
Mine, I also shared in the first video, but I have 2 younger brothers, and we used to get into my mom's bed, and she would read to us every night, and she read chapter books. And that was such a special time, and she really enjoyed finding the book and then reading it to us. So yeah, I'll have to ask my brothers sometime if they remember those times too.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember when we were so young, but I think those memories stick with us for a good reason, because those experiences you have being read to were important ones. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later.
So these are our ready 5 characters. We have Tacosaurus, Sing Horse, Rhitosaurus, the Reed Squirrel, and the Platypus. They are like little icons for each of our practices, and you'll see them throughout these videos, and we hope that you'll incorporate them into your daily life. Children learn best by doing, and they love doing things with the grown-ups in their lives. And you know what? That's you. So we hope that you'll take this to heart and spend some time with your kiddos.
And know that the things you're already doing with them every day is really just what's contributing to their learning. So real quickly, we talked about this more in depth in our very first video when we went over early literacy, but just to recap kind of how or what children need when they're learning how to read. The 2 components, part of that's decoding, so learning the code of the alphabet, and that those letters make sounds and the combinations of letters make words, so that they can learn those sounds and words and how they go together. And the other part is comprehending, so understanding what those words mean and what those words mean together. So those 2 parts, learning the code and learning the meaning of the meaning of the words combined together, is how kids learn how to read. And like we mentioned, this is when we talk about early literacy, we're not talking about teaching necessarily children, your toddlers or whatnot, to read. Kids will pick it up when they pick it up in some part. But we're talking about the skills and things that you can do with them that will help make that process easier. So this is Reed Squirrel, and we're talking today about why reading is so important, why reading to young children, and kind of some tips for reading, especially with young children, because it's not always instinctual. And Cameron's going to start with what's so great about it.
Reading to children helps build their vocabulary. Picture books often have rare words that we don't use in everyday conversation. Children who grow up being read to know more words when they enter school and have an easier time with reading. Reading helps build their background knowledge about the world around them. Both stories and nonfiction books are great ways to expose children to new things and explain their everyday world. Children who live where it doesn't snow is one example. Fiction stories are a great way to help children understand emotions. Through the narrative of the story, they can learn about emotional experiences that they haven't had and build their empathy. Or they can read about their own experiences and it can help them talk about the process and their feelings. Reading provides them with many creative jumping off points, stories and characters to inspire their own storytelling and play. Stories also spark our adult creativity. It can be hard to remember what to do when they ask you to play house or farm. You can lean on those books you read together to help you get back to a childlike frame of mind. Books are great for figuring out what children get excited about and to inspire their continued learning. First, kids learn how to read, then after about grade 3, they'll be reading to learn new things. Reading together is a special time for you and your kids. It's time you've set aside to be together and you're giving children your undivided attention. It's a time to explore topics where they can ask questions. The main goal in reading together is to create a positive experience around books and reading.
I think that last part, as evidenced by both of our kind of stories about, our stories that we remember about being read to as a child, it's really about that experience, right? How that felt and that time we spent together. That's so important. So this next part, we're going to share some kind of tips about the kind of best reading experiences that you can have with your little ones.
Yes, keep books as accessible as you can. Create an area where they know they can go grab a book all by themselves. Add sturdy books in with toys, so it's always an option of something they can do during playtime. Encourage children to handle the books when they can. Toddlers don't know their own strength, and destruction can be a problem. But having board or cloth books for really young children helps. Know that some of that is okay. Chewing on books is part of early literacy too. It's all about understanding how books work and being able to explore that.
And that last point too, just a reminder, when books are turning off screens, if you can think of a way, a moment where you're reaching for a screen or to hand a child a screen, maybe think about, is this a time when I could hand them a book instead? Or one of my favorite examples a parent shared with me is he said, I don't want to deceive my kids, but sometimes when I'm reading an article on my phone and my kid walks in the room, I pick up a book and I put it in front of the phone, which I thought was just a really clever way, because kids don't have that connection yet about, that you're reading on your phone, what that means, that, you might be reading a book on your phone, but if they see you holding the book more often, they might make that connection a little better. Okay. So another thing to think about, when you're reading with kids, this is a special time for you and them to have that interaction. Like we mentioned, I remember being curled up next to my grandpa and feeling really warm and cozy. I don't know, get special stuffed animals, blankets, maybe there's a special snack, whatever makes that feel like a special time. Let kids choose the books as often as you can, even if it's just between two books that let them make that choice. Those are just easy decisions for them to practice their own autonomy. And, if they choose a book that's too hard, we see that a lot in the library. Kids grab a book and it's way above their level. Maybe that's just a great opportunity to do what we call a picture walk, or just talk, through the topic of the book or look at the pictures. That still kind of validates their interest, but doesn't set you or them up to get bored or frustrated. Let's see. When you sit down to read together, seems obvious, but make sure everyone can see the book. So if you're reading with a group of kiddos, make sure you can turn that pages so they can see the pictures and read those pictures as you're reading the words. Take time as you're going through just to point out things in the pictures that you notice, and leave some time, for them to do the same. There's no pressure for you to feel like you need to get all the words, from point A to point B in a certain amount of time, or make it to the end of the book. That kind of taking the time to make that interactive is important. Do your best to read with enthusiasm. Use facial expressions. get really silly. If you're having fun, kids are a lot more likely to have fun. So, read books that you really like and that you're excited to share. Um, Children will typically know if you're bored. Why? If you seem bored, they're not going to be as excited about it. And I know that some adults feel intimidated about trying to read with enthusiasm or using silly voices. But the great thing is that kids are never judging how ridiculous you are. In fact, usually the more ridiculous you are, the more excited they are. So just having fun with it is important. And then again, like I said, don't feel the pressure like you have to get through the entire book. If a young child especially is just getting fussy or bored, it's all right to just flip to the end and say the end, or go to another book. Or sometimes I've had that happen where I'm reading to a kid and they just wander off, and they start playing blocks. And so sometimes they're like, okay, you're done. Sometimes I'll just keep reading the story, and something will hook them back in. They'll come back. So they're often just kind of listening in the background anyway. Main point is just, we want this to be a good connection with reading. So if it becomes like a torturous process for them to sit through the whole book, maybe it's time just to let that one go. And know that repetition is great. We mentioned this with singing also. It can get a little bit annoying for adults when we're reading, their favorite book for the 27th time that week. But it's actually just really good for their development to hear that same story over and over again, strengthening those brain pathways and reinforcing the concepts and the vocabulary that they're learning. And it's creating that relationship that they have with that book, building those favorites. I've heard examples of parents getting bored with reading a story, so instead they throw in different voices, or they say, let's make up a new ending, or doing something just to spice it up for themselves is fun. Okay, we're actually gonna I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, and I'm gonna read a book to you, trying to keep all those different things in mind. See if you can see some of those tips, and just think about maybe how you'd read it differently. And we'll kind of talk through it. This one, I picked this one because it is a book I love. It makes me laugh. It's a good one. I think parents can relate to it. Called Please Baby Please. And whenever I'm reading to children, I try to point out the title, tell them who the author, Spike Lee and Tonya Lee Lewis, and the pictures are by Kadir Nelson, because that's important for them to understand. Those are, parts of a book, learning how books work. So open it up. It says, go back to bed, please, baby, please. Oh, mom's laying on the floor. She looks pretty tired, doesn't she? Not on your head. Baby, 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 please. What is baby pouring on their head? Yeah, it looks like cereal. Oh my goodness. What's the baby doing? They're drawing, but are they drawing on paper? No, they're drawing on the wall. Keep off the wall, baby, baby, please, baby. You share the ball, please, baby, baby, baby. Oh, that baby looks sad, don't they? Don't eat the sand, baby, 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 please. I like that rhythm it has too. I can even see kind of getting a little bounce going. Now hold my hand, baby, 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 please. It's time to go, please, baby, please. Oh, how do you think baby feels about leaving? Kind of upset. Where are they at? See a slide? Probably on the playground. Don't be so slow, baby, 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 please. Baby's got distracted by some flowers. Please eat your peas, baby, 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 baby. There are those peas. What color are they? Peas are green, absolutely. Don't be a tease, baby, baby, please, baby. Please don't splash, baby, baby, please, baby. Oh my goodness. Look at all those toys they have in the bathtub. Let's count how many toys there are. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bath toys. No, in the trash, baby, baby, baby. Oh, what are they trying to put in their toys? Their diaper. Now you sleep tight. Please, baby, please. Kiss me good night, mama, 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 please. Oh, good night, baby. The end. That's please, baby, please. Thanks for indulging me there as I read that like I would read it probably to a toddler or preschool age child. Obviously, if it was a baby, we'd go a little faster. All right, that's just some of that goes good tips in action. We're going to pull up our slides and talk a little bit more about some other things to keep in mind with reading here. Open that up. Okay. All right. Next up.
Okay. It's always good to weave books into your daily routines. Oh, wait, I skipped. Sorry. Using books as windows and mirrors. Sorry about that. Window books allow children to see into places, people, emotions, and experiences that they don't know about. This helps them to not only build background knowledge, but build empathy and openness about other life experiences and cultures. This is a great way to introduce children to people of other colors, races, and cultures, especially if they don't live in a very diverse community. Mirror books are ones that reflect their own lives, experiences, and emotions. This helps to imagine their own success and positive experiences. It helps build their confidence to try new things if they can imagine themselves as a character. These can also help kids to reflect on similar emotions and process those feelings.
All right. And we like to mention that oral storytelling is another way of sharing, not a book, but that same kind of reading experience. Since it's really all about that, again, that experience, they're spending the time with you. And some, parents, especially if they don't feel like they're confident readers, or if you don't have access to a lot of books or a lot of books in your native language, oral storytelling is another great way to have that experience. Sometimes, if you're making up stories or talking about your childhood, that can just be easier or faster in the moment. So, feel free to lean into that. It's lots of the same benefits as reading books. It's also fun to act out stories or use puppets as a more kind of active or playful way to, sort of quote unquote read together without a book. Also is helpful if children are having a hard time, sitting still and they're too excited or wiggly. And definitely use whatever language is most comfortable for you. This goes with all of our early literacy practices, really. If you both speak a language that's other than English, that's great. Lean into that language that you're most comfortable with, because the stronger that the child you're with, stronger they build whatever language that is, the easier it will be for them to eventually switch to English whenever they need to.
All right, here we are, weaving books into your daily routines. Maybe you already have designated circle time. If you don't, this doesn't have to be as official as it sounds. It can simply be a regular time when you're caring for your children that you designate as a time you do the 5 early literacy practices. You can always incorporate reading throughout the day, maybe as a transition into other activities like meals. Before naps is often when families read together because it naturally winds children down. Books are a great activity for traveling, whether it's you sharing a book with them on the bus, them exploring a book on their own, or listening to a recorded story while you're driving. Keep books by the changing table or in the bathroom to use as a distraction for wiggly babies, or to encourage toddlers to take some time on the potty. Keep some sturdy books with their toys. This puts books on the same level as toys. Just as fun and exciting, and always an option to explore or to incorporate in their play. Young children will often read to their babies or stuffed animals. This is great role play and helps them stay excited about reading.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of what are some good types of books to read to different ages of children. You can see a lot of examples on the screen, but I'm actually going to stop sharing again here. And we're going to show you some of our favorites in person here. So let's see what we want to start. Grab my stick. We mentioned sturdy, chewable books, so that's like a board book, like this Please Baby Please is one. That's a board book, a little harder to destroy. Another great one.
That's Not My Bunny, it's called.
It's a whole series. That's Not My, fill in the blank with an animal or a truck, or and they're all textured.
Yeah. Fun.
Good sensory experience. Finding books about kind of common objects or animals that, especially when you're, with like babies and toddlers, starting with those animals and things that they see to help them make sense of their world. There's this great series. This one is Washer and Dryer's Big Job by Steve Weinberg. There's also one for like the oven and the stove and the dishwasher. And they're pretty cute. They just show like the kind of the work that those appliances do in your house. Let's see.
I have a great one. It's called Where is Baby's Belly Button? This is a really fun book because there's flaps on the inside, and we like a good flap.
Yeah.
And it goes through all of their body parts throughout the whole book, and it finally ends with Where is Baby? So really cute.
Yeah, it's fun to do the flap reveal when they're too little to lift the flaps themselves. It's so fun. And then they love it, obviously, when they're older. Now they have some board books that have come out with felt flaps that are a little bit harder to destroy. I just learned about that too. Babies love looking at pictures of other babies. So having books with photos are really great. Photos of other babies. This one is called Baby See Baby Do by Robbie Rogge. And this is also a great one because it has about just the things that babies do every day. Baby crawl, baby sleep, and then about emotions. Baby's sad, baby's mad, and there's a little mirror included in there so that they can mimic what the babies they see are doing. So they'll often do that.
This book is a black and white book, I Kiss the Baby. So again, it's about all the different kinds of animal babies and what they like to do.
Yeah, and black and white books are especially good for newborns in the first couple of months when they're first born and their eyes are still developing. The things that they'll really see are the high contrast. So they might, they'll really just zero in on something like this.
That's really cute book. I like that one.
Let's see what else. Books that have good good rhyme, rhythm, and song. We've got a few of those. So Pete the Cat, if you're not familiar, Pete the Cat and his Four Groovy Buttons created by James Dean and Eric Litwin. All theirs kind of have a little rhythm and a tune to it, so you can almost make up your own song.
I like that one too. That's a good one. Here's one called I Know an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Pie. So a take on I Know an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly. There are so many takes on this book. But this has some really great rhyming, and then what'd you call that when it stacks on top of each other?
Yeah, it's like a story that builds on itself.
Yeah.
So those are great, right? So each time a child is remembering what are all the different things that she ate. She swallowed this, then this, then this, and they're working on practicing like sequencing and working on those memory skills. You can have them name the objects with you.
And I just love the artwork in here too. It's very expressive. It looks like watercolor, so just really artsy.
And it's funny. I feel like the Old Lady Who Swallowed a fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Our kids find them hilarious. So humor is always good.
Yeah.
They're entertained. Books with like common characters. So good examples, Llama and Llama Red Pajama by Anna Dewdney. I mean, Llama Llama is a TV show now, and there are, all kinds of Llama books now that once they kind of get attached to a character, they'd like to see that same character over and over again. let's see. Interactive books are great too. This one's called Don't Wake Up the Tiger by Britta Teckentruff. And so this is one, there are a number of them where, especially when you're reading with like one or two kiddos, there are things for them to interact with the book, especially on your lap. Like in this one, Frog is trying to float over the tiger, and to help the tiger stay asleep, it say let's pet her nose. That always works. So they can just get in there and like help interact with the story. That was pretty fun.
I really like this book, An Animal Guessing Game. This is what we would call a nonfiction book because it's very much telling about different animals. Okay, let's pick a good one. So here's all the clues to this animal. And who am I? It's a crab. And it goes through a frog and a rabbit. See if I can find another good one. Here's a flamingo. That's really neat too.
Love that.
Yeah, I like how bright the pictures are.
Yeah, those are nice. A good example too, like big, bold pictures, just a few words per page. And I think we don't think of nonfiction with young children as often. It seems like something like you got to learn the facts, but that's a great example of that early nonfiction where it's real information, but very digestible. And it's a game.
This book is called Journey. It's about a little girl and her red crayon and how everyone in the house is busy. Oh. And so she's trying to decide what to do with her day. Let's see. And so she takes her red crayon and she draws like her imagination.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, and there's no words on that one.
Yep. That's what makes it very fun. And so then she goes adventuring through her door. Yeah, it's so pretty. So
yeah,
okay.
It's like works of art. Yeah, those wordless ones are really fun because then you can tell the story together. It's a great one to just like have a conversation or have them tell you the story of what's going on. I love that.
The last book I have is called The Cow Loves Cookies. And it's a joke book, like not a I'm telling a joke, but it's just a funny book because the farmer does all his chores and then in the end he brings the cow some cookies and as they eat lunch.
Yeah, and it's a nice one that has good repetition. It has the repeated phrase or like question, like, what does the cow love? The cow loves cookies. So you get those nice repeated phrases. You can encourage kiddos to say them together. And the end is the joke.
But the duck loves quackers.
So it's like some elevated humor for even like a little bit older kids. And that one has a lot of good rhyming too. So books that kind of rhyme are fun because then sometimes if the kid, you can tell there's a pattern of rhyming. You can have kids fill in the blank, like, ooh, what rhymes with this word? Yeah, that one's one of my favorites too. So that's just kind of some ideas for you of when you're picking out books, different things to look for and different types of books to look for different ages. I'm going to pop this screen share back up here. And we'll see what's next here. So, yep, there's that list. And the last two ones on the list, books that kids choose, like we talked about, and books that you love. Like we said, if you love it and are having fun, they are much more likely to be as well.
The act of reading with a child says you're important, we're important together, and what we're doing is important. So just remember that even though you might, you're not a literacy artist or you don't feel like you're doing great. Like everyone's doing great reading to their kids. They just want to be with you.
Yeah, just the fact that you're picking up a book and reading it with whatever that book is, taking that time shows them that like, oh yeah, this is an important thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be an early literacy specialist.
Yes, there you go.
to get there. All right. So that was, that's all of our of our info and our tips and tricks about reading. As we mentioned, we're doing a series of these videos focused on each early literacy practice. But other ways that you can learn more, we have a Facebook group for Every Child Ready Duluth. You can join that group through the Duluth Public Library's Facebook page, and you'll find out more about upcoming events, story times, and more early childhood resources for that birth to 5 age range. And then the Duluth Public Library website has more resources, things you can check out. In the first video we did for this series, we go in depth about other resources that the library has to help with building early literacy skills. From the Duluth Library website, you can also get to the Every Child Ready Duluth site, which has lots more resources and information about other organizations we work with all around children birth to 5.
Here you can contact us if you would like to. We'd love to hear from you. Both of our emails and then our office phone number are here.
Yeah.
Please reach out to us.
Feel free to reach out anytime. And we hope that you'll check out our other videos that we have through the Northland Foundation, and hope to see you at the library.
Bye.